Hey guys, this is Alex Hardkey in MUX1403, and in this video I'm just going to go over the project for week 1. And for my app, I'm making a decibel level meter that you'd use for like recording and mixing music. And basically it just uses the device's built-in microphone to pick up whatever external sound you're playing through speakers or whatever, and it tells you the decibel level in real time. And I'm made it because I'm really into recording and mixing and stuff, so I find this sort of tool to be pretty useful. So yeah, that's why I'm doing it. Then skipping ahead here to my heuristics evaluation. I've got screenshots of the apps that I am comparing my app to. This first one called Decibel 10th is this one right here. Pretty simple. And then the other one is this Decibel Ultra, it's called. It's got a lot more information, and I'll kind of get into that, but yeah, just to reference kind of what we're talking about here. Let's see, the visibility of app status. Well, for the Decibel 10th, it loads really quickly, and it starts functioning right away. The meters start pumping or whatever as soon as you load it up, and it's ready to go. The graph starts, moving. Let's see, the match between the app and the real world. It does ask you the first time you use this app, it asks you for permission to use the built-in microphone. Otherwise it won't work. But all you have to do is just click OK, and then it saves, and you can use it from then on out. User control and freedom. It is super easy to use. There's like no interaction required really. You just watch the meters go, and you can press this play pause button to stop at any certain point, just to kind of catch, because this number in the middle here moves pretty fast based on what it's hearing. So it's kind of nice to get just a freeze frame of that, and that's super easy. And then this little info button is just a settings menu that drops down here, and yeah, it's just this one page otherwise. Let's see, error prevention. Well, it pretty much eliminates any error possibilities by not having any real function for the user. The only thing really is this: if you accidentally press the pause button when you didn't mean to, you can just press play again and it'll resume as it normally does. Consistency and standards. Let's see. It's labeled really clearly, and there's not a lot to it. So I mean, the maximum decibel level that it's heard over a period of time, the peak would be, in like a 5-second span, it resets to its highest level in the last 5 seconds, and then this one updates a few times every second, so it's really quick. The decibel meter is obviously labeled from 0 to 110. That's pretty clear. And then this graph is from 20 to 100. That's pretty clear to understand. Let's see. Recognition rather than recall. Well, like I said, this app is one screen. There's no need for different views or pages, and even the settings button is just a little drop down, so it works really smooth. It loads really fast, like I said. And, let's see, flexibility and efficiency of use. Well, it's really functional. There's no login required. You don't have to wait for it to load or go through any screens to get to the main function of the app. And then the settings button has all the settings you'd really need, like changing the frequency range. Then this little calibration function that kind of resets its floor, I guess you'd say. And then you can turn off the sound, this little sound thing that it does. And then these little help tags that pop up, like on this, it's just like a little pop-up dialog box that says kind of what this max is, what this peak is, what this play pause button does. So yeah, that's it. Aesthetic and minimalist design. It's very much a minimalist design. Just one screen. And all the information that's being displayed is really relevant and useful for the people that would be using this app. Help users recognize, diagnose, and recover from errors. I was unable to get any sort of errors while using this app, so I can't really comment on that, which is probably a good thing. Help and documentation. Like I said, this little help option in the settings lets you reset the minimum and max, or the max value, the peak, and the start pause button just tells you that that's what that does. And then when you click on this graph, you can also send that data via email for some reason, if you ever want to. Okay, that's about it for this one. And then for the other one, Decibel Ultra. This one was a little bit worse in my opinion, but let's see, for the visibility of app status, it does load quickly and begins monitoring right away, just like the other one. The match between the app and the real world. This one does require permission, just like the other one. And yeah, the user control and freedom. This app is a bit more complex. And there's a lot more numbers and buttons and stuff and meters. But so it's just kind of a little bit more cluttered. And the buttons aren't really very clearly labeled. It took me a while to figure out what all these things did and what these mean. So yeah, it's kind of a mess, but like this question mark is the help button, and it takes you to a new screen, and it's like a manual, a user's manual, but you can close it again with the done button, then it takes you back here and resumes. See, error prevention. Well, these buttons are pretty easy to mistakenly press, especially if you don't know what they do, which I did quite a bit. But they're really just non-destructive buttons. They don't do anything if you do press them. I mean, they do what they're supposed to do, but they don't ruin anything. They don't cause the app to like fail or whatever. But you can just press them again and it'll go back to the way it was. Consistency and standards. Like I said, the app's labeled pretty poorly. There's more functionality, I guess, but not really useful. I mean, a lot of these numbers don't really mean much for what anybody would really need this thing for. And it just kind of adds to just a messy interface. The meters themselves are kind of redundant, I think, too. These do the same thing. You can just switch between this fast, slow impedance switch, which basically just changes how the meters react over time. So there's more accurate data too, like it goes down to the nearest tenth. All these numbers do, but I don't know if that's really that necessary. The help screen is like absolutely necessary to understand any of this app, and what all these labels mean and stuff. But that unfortunately forces you to move to another page and takes you away from the screen, so you can't really reference it that well. The app has two separate VU style meters, like I said. This frequency meter down here, which is kind of hard to read and doesn't really tell you any levels. It's kind of useless. And then the standard kind of LED style meter, going from 0 to 120, that's a little more useful, but just kind of a bunch of things doing the same thing, and I don't know. I don't think any of them do it very exceptionally well, but it does still run smoothly despite all these things going on and all these numbers moving around and all the pages it has to load. It still runs fine, but it's just kind of cluttered. So upon loading this app, it does pop up with an advertisement that you have to close before you start using it, which is just kind of one other thing that's kind of a ding against this, I guess, compared to the other one. Like I said, the settings page has a pretty extensive list of options, more so than the other app, but again, that's just because this has so much more stuff that you don't really need, so the settings are kind of useless too. The app is, I think, kind of aesthetically displeasing. There's just so much unnecessary stuff that it clutters the page, and it's redundant a lot, I think. Let's see. And the app does have the ability to send data in email too, like the other one. And then basically this record button does that, and then you can send it in the email. And then it has the standard like iOS cancel if you didn't mean to do that. And so that's really the only error message that it has, I guess, that I could find. Like I said, the help section is very extensive and acts as basically a user's manual. And it's really hard to find like a specific help topic, so you have to like read through the whole thing to find one specific. Like if I wanted to find out what this was for, I'd have to read through pretty much the entire thing to find what that is. So it's not very practical. And then, let's see, for my article that I found, basically let's see, where's it called? It's called Experimenting in the App Lab. And it's basically just talking about how app makers are taking advantage of the fact that smartphone users are already expecting to pay for mobile content. And so they're kind of using old sales tactics like upselling and stuff. So like how a lot of apps are free, but with the in-app purchases, they get you to spend money and unlock more features and things like that. I think it's a pretty interesting idea of marketing to give people like a taste test sort of thing, to decide if they might want more. And then they talk about the next kind of wave of these in-app purchases being more like smaller charges of like 10 cents per newspaper article or something like that. So I think that'll be interesting to see how users respond to that sort of experience, being nickeled and dimed for every time they're expecting to use certain things that have been free before. So that could be interesting. But yeah, I got to wrap this video up. So that's about it. Thanks for watching.